Lounging, son.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. My name's Ryan, and our host for the day is Dylan. He just couldn't get through the intro without having to do more than 2 takes, so I thought I would do that. And yeah,
Fucking stuttering Stanley over here.
it's okay. But now you can take the lead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, we have a lot to talk about. Pretty decent week as far as new releases in comics goes. We have Speed Metal, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Talk about it more, but freaking Wally West, guys. Wally fucking West. Excellent. Freaking, he's been great. He's been great as far as the stuff that I've been reading from with him so far. Yeah. And I'm probably gonna, from my own leisurely reading, I'm probably gonna start reading the Williamson run.
I had been a huge fan of Williamson on Flash from the beginning. I still remember the day. I guess it was the WonderCon right before Rebirth started, and that was where DC dropped all the announcements of what they were doing. Before that, nobody knew what they were doing. They didn't even call it the Rebirth panel. It was a DC secret panel, and just from that first conversation he was having at the panel of what his plans were for Flash, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. Like, it was so clear that he had a deep love of the character, and not just Barry, but Wally and the whole Flash family, everything about it. So, this week saw not just Speed Metal, which was his final thoughts on Wally, but it also saw the end of his 101 issue run.
That's pretty freaking epic. 101 issues.
Right, and that's just That's just the actual issues, because if you look at the one-shots and stuff and the annuals, he wrote 107 issues.
Oh man, that's a lot.
Right. So I mean, it was a fucking great ending. I did a video that's gonna post sometime this week as of when the podcast goes up. I kind of gave my thoughts. Flash is my favorite character in comics. Wally West in specific. I won't get too into the details because I kind of shared my thoughts on there. But, when you sent me that message saying, I think Wally might be my favorite Flash now after you read Speed Metal, I can't even describe to you how happy that made me. You know what I mean? Like, it was very gratifying to hear somebody say that, because, like, I have said for years, come on, dude. Like, Wally is the better Flash. Like, Barry should have... and I like Barry. Not to say that I don't like that Barry's alive and, like, oh, I fucking wish you'd die again. Like, but he should have stayed dead. Like, he had the ultimate sacrifice. And, whatever. Jeff Johns brought him back. He brought him back in a cool way. Like, it's not that it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But whatever. Like, I felt like Wally from that moment got pushed to the back. Then we saw New 52. And then he was kind of like, again, not talked about. Then we see Rebirth, and we see him back, and we're like, I was like, oh shit, they're finally doing it. He's going to be elevated. Then we see Heroes in Crisis. Then we see this fucking hot trash book Flash Forward.
Yeah, okay. And Heroes in Crisis is...
right. Yeah, I have its issues, you know what I'm saying? So, bottom line is, check out my video. I talk about my feelings on the whole Flash family and what Williamson did with it. And also... check out the Joshua Williamson interview that is also posting this week. He shares his thoughts, and again, I'm just so happy to fucking have that one issue. It's my favorite issue of the year.
Okay, with everything going on in Death Metal right now, like, I feel like it's finally like fleshing itself out to be a more cohesive thing, which I'm actually happy about. But I feel a lot of that in part has had to do with the tie-ins. That's as far as everything goes. Like the Justice League tie-in last week was good. This Flash Speed Metal tie-in was fantastic. I just love the fact that that the Flash family is such a strong familial unit. You know what I mean? Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West, everybody is solid, and everybody legitimately cares about each other. You know what I mean? And and what they have in relation is the whole Speed Force thing. But okay. Heroes in Crisis. I felt like it was off to a good start, and then after the big reveal, it was just like, this is stupid. Like, this is dumb. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like one of the first. I wouldn't say one of the first. One of the few moments that in my own memory that I read some stuff with Wally, because most of the stuff that I've been reading as far as the Flash goes has always been Barry Allen. because I started reading Rebirth, right? The Jeff Johns Rebirth, right? Well, I did it to coincide with the Green Lantern Rebirth stuff that I was reading. I'm of the newer age of fans when it comes to the Flash character, in a sense that, you know what I mean? Like, that was my first experience with it, and it was always Barry Allen, you know what I mean? I guess I did what you said would happen, and I put Wally to the back burner because, Barry's back. Barry's the original. Barry's the OG. Wally might be faster, but I like Barry. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what I was going to say, too, is that, and I've said, I can't even tell you how many times I've said this on multiple fucking episodes, whatever I've recorded and what I've written on this site. Flash 82 by Mark Waid and Mike Wieringa was my first comic book. Mm-hmm. That was Wally. You know what I mean? So that's why I love the character so much. I know you grew up reading mostly Marvel, so you weren't reading Flash, and that's why you don't have that connection to Wally. But if you were reading DC at the time when you were younger, Wally would have been your Flash. Barry wasn't resurrected till 2008, I believe, or maybe even later.
I think it was earlier. Wasn't it 2007-ish? It doesn't matter. Late 2000s, got it.
Wally was a Flash for a whole generation. Much like, Tim Drake was a generation's Robin and Kyle Rayner was a generation's Green Lantern. So, Kyle Rayner's my Green Lantern. I grew up reading that. You started with Hal, even though, you were alive when Kyle was Green Lantern,
I knew of the Green Lanterns. Honestly, if we were going to say who was my Green Lantern, it would be Jon Stewart because of the cartoon.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But, I highly recommend to everybody, especially you, go read that Mark Waid Flash. Go read, and then after you're done, in between the Mark Waid Flash and the Jeff Johns, there's a trade that's Grant Morrison and Mark Millar that they wrote. It's not the best from either of them, but it's still a decent one. But then the Jeff Johns, and it's you will fall in love with the character of Wally because you see the growth and change of his character from the time Mark Waid takes over the book until the time Jeff Johns leaves the book. Those are both epic runs. Now there's a trifecta of amazing Flash runs. Mark Waid, Jeff Johns, and Joshua Williamson is now among those. I highly recommend that to everybody, dude. Anybody listening, especially you, Dylan. I think you should check them out. Pretty much every single issue of Wally's run, going back to 1987 when it started, all the way till the end, and then all of Jeff Johns' run. Yeah. I love those comics. Those are some of my favorite comics. I've read those over and over again, dude.
Which leads me to talk about Wally. I don't know, something about Wally and how he's been written lately, especially in Speed Metal. How it's just the ultimate sacrifice, dude. He's just going for it. And there's a moment when everyone's falling behind, and it's Wally and Barry, and Barry is it's time for you to take the lead. That shit was passing the torch, literally. I don't know. There's a sentimental feel to that I really appreciate. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it. It's it's that feeling of a mentor. No, it was like a mentor telling you, dude, you're fucking dope. You know what I mean? You're better than me. So go be your best self, bro. I don't know. There's a sentimental feeling that I have with that. I can relate it into a few things that happened in my life recently. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was definitely an awesome moment. Just in the book, for anybody that's not familiar with those characters, especially for me as a fan, because I didn't get to see as much Wally in Joshua Williamson's run as I would have liked, and I know he would have liked as well to have had the ability to write him more. But he was able to bring them back together because there was a story arc Flash War where they were going at it and they were against each other, kind of. To be able to bring them back together and leave Wally in a better place than he had been in the DCU, it was really cool to fucking see. And
especially after the shit show that was Heroes in Crisis.
Well, I'm talking about the shit show that was Flash Forward by fucking Scott Lobdell. That's what I fucking can't stand.
How does he have a job?
I don't think he has a job anymore. I think he's gone from DC. Thank God. So
yeah, I remember he bowed out. Of
Red Hood.
Red Hood. Yeah, I remember that.
Good. So long, sucker.
Yeah, fucking trash.
Another book that came out this week that I wanted to talk about, but I won't spoil since I know you haven't read it.
I read the first few pages.
Dude, that thing was fucking massive. That was a 56-page issue.
Yeah.
We're talking about X of Swords, by the way, or 10 of Swords, by the way.
Oh, it is 10 of Swords.
Yeah, it's 10 of Swords.
So so it's a tarot card thing. Got it.
It's a tarot card.
All right, cool. But yeah, like the general consensus is that what I've seen on the interwebs is that most people enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, how much shit have I been talking about this? My shit talking is more in the sense that it's 22 parts in the span of about 2 months. And
Yeah.
that's what pissed me off. But I gotta say, man, this issue was really fucking good. And like I said, and I don't think it's spinning out of Excalibur. I think it's spinning out of X-Men mostly, you know, and I was right. It is not spinning out. While it does touch on some of the themes of like Otherworld from Excalibur, a lot of it has to do with the X-Men as a whole and Apocalypse, and dude, it was really fucking good. It was a lot of information in this issue.
Of course, it's Hickman.
I was so fucking surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, I'm not buying all the tie-ins. I will be reading them, but I will not be purchasing them. I'll wait for the hardcover, and I think that this actually might be a hardcover I will want if the quality of the story continues to be that way throughout the other tie-ins.
Now, my question is Tini Howard and Hickman pretty much spearheading this entire thing?
I think so. I mean, it's co-written by them. I couldn't really tell who wrote what. It was kind of hard to tell the difference. I don't think Hickman wrote the entire first issue. I also don't think that he would put her name on it if she didn't have something to do with it either. I don't think he would do that just to prop her up, you know?
Okay, good. Because honestly, like, you know, you and I have been talking about Tini Howard for a while. Like, I really do feel that she has the potential to be one of the greats. And, like, you know, if this pans out to be something freaking pretty epic, her name's gonna live forever in this shit. Like, and that's gonna be fucking amazing. I'm really so that makes me happy that this first issue is that solid. You know what I mean? Especially for it being how many pages did you say? 56.
I'm guessing because it was $6.99, and I kept remembering. I'm like, fuck, is this book almost gonna end? Like, I got other shit to read right now. Oh no, that's not. No, I didn't say I have other shit to read. I'm sorry. It was the last book I read Tuesday morning, right before I was going to work, and I'm like, holy shit, dude, I'm running out of time. I have to leave. Like, this book needs to hurry the fuck up and be over. And I barely made it to work. I got to work literally at 11 o'clock on the fucking dot. Because I'm like, I'm not leaving.
You were in panic mode.
Yeah, I was. I was getting stressed out. I'm like, dude, I gotta fucking finish this. I'm not leaving it when there's like a little bit left. And I'm like, so like I start looking. I'm like, dude, is this 32, fucking 48, 56? How many fucking pages is this goddamn book? And then I realized, I'm like, it has to be 56. It's kind of like that, the first issue of Absolute Carnage, except I felt that book kind of like flowed a little bit better. There wasn't as much information they were trying to get across in that issue.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're talking about Hickman here. I mean, like, take Decorum. Yeah. It was like 3 issues of composition. Like, you know,
I know, dude.
And that was in the first issue. It was like 3 issues of composition in the first issue.
Yeah.
It was like, you know what I mean? So I expected nothing less. The first few pages I did read was pretty cool. Like I said, like I'm a little behind on the X-Men title, so I have no idea what's going on. I don't you know what I mean, with the Otherworld and who these new Horsemen are. So I'm just like going in kind of clueless. I'm sure like, you know, Hickman will cover some of this stuff like as a recap, but I'm really excited to read it. That's probably gonna be like, you know, after we're done recording this, is probably what I'm gonna do after or in between football games.
Yeah. Oh, real quick. Okay, so before we get into Fables, you mentioned football, but I gotta give a shout. I gotta give a shout out to my fucking LA Lakers, homie. Damn. Back in the motherfucking finals after 10 fucking years. 10 years I've been waiting, dude. And not only are we back, but did you see LeBron James at the end of that motherfucking game? Boom! Another shot. Boom! Running down the lane. Boom! Another dunk. Boom! Another dish. Fucking 38, 16, and 10. Triple-double in year 17, dude.
Yeah.
I was screaming, dude. I was screaming last night.
Dog, that was a hell of a game, bro. Like, I only caught the fourth quarter, but man, he's a man possessed, bro. I can keep on telling you, like people were asking me like early on, like, hey, what do you think about the Lakers going into the playoffs? It's like, yo, they're gonna take it all the way. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen LeBron play like this. He's like, you know, he has his off nights, everyone does, but when he's on more often than not. And the way he's playing like a man possessed, bro. He's chasing Kobe's ghost. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in like the last team captain to take the Lakers to the finals was Kobe.
I don't want to say that they wouldn't be as successful if trying to honor Kobe wasn't a part of it. But I feel like that totally elevated them to where now it's like they're not just doing it for their own career or for their own legacies. Like they want to do it in honor of Kobe, and I think it's going to be probably the most special championship in Lakers history is when this happens. You know what I mean? Like
they were in first place before Kobe passed, right? They're already on top of their conference, but before the lockdown happened and before all sports shut down. So right. I mean, they were already in a good position to go to the finals. But like you said, this elevated it. This brought it to a whole new height. And like there's sentimental value of anything will always outshadow any other value. You know what I mean?
Oh,
this is special. This is going to be special to the organization, special to the fans, and special to freaking our hometown city of Los Angeles, bro. Like, I feel like no one got hit harder than LA when Kobe passed.
Oh, dude, I mean? I was devastated for fucking weeks. I was always like, my whole demeanor was just like, I was down, dude. I was sad for
and you can feel
time.
it. And the thing is, you can feel it in the air too. It wasn't just like. It wasn't just like, like a celebrity passing. It was like a staple of Los Angeles passing. You know what I mean?
And it was overcast that day, and that just made the whole day even like, you know what I mean? Like there was no sunshine that day. It was like fucking really dark and like.
I was at the shop actually. I was at the Ventura shop when the word hit, and they were like, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, Dylan, you watch basketball?" I'm like, "I watch basketball enough." He's like, "You know who Kobe Bryant is?" I'm like, "Bro, I'm from Los Angeles. Of course I know who Kobe Bryant is." He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I think he just died." I'm like, what? Nah, stop fucking around. Is this one of those fucking hoaxes? And then
I know you even texted me that day. You're like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, you good, bro?
You're like what? You're like one of the only people that fucking knew that was going to affect me. I think.
Yeah, dude. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? It's like the day Stan Lee passed. Like, two people hit me up. It's like, dude, you okay? But anyway, let's talk about Fables, dude.
Yeah, dude. Let's fucking do it, man. I'll read the credits real quick, and as always, you will take the lead since it's your first time reading it. So, obviously, written by Bill Willingham. The first story in here, the pencils are by Craig Hamilton and P. Craig Russell. Then in the main story arc, March of the Wooden Soldiers, pencils by Mark Buckingham, inks by Steve Leialoha, and also Mark Buckingham as well is on inks for that story arc. Daniel Vozo, Laverne Kindzierski, the colorist, and Todd Klein on letter. And as always, James.
Fucking Todd Klein, man.
Yeah, as always, James Jean with his fantastic fucking covers. Let's talk about this.
The covers are sick. All right, let's talk. Okay, first and fucking foremost, this volume so far has been my favorite. This volume was dope. It's not because of the battle or anything like that. Honestly, that first story with Boy Blue and how it led into everything.
Right.
Oh man, that was great, dude. Like. You gotta love the irony of it all. Like, damn, man. Like, so that first story arc when it talks about Red Riding Hood and how she's like she was like one of the last survivors to make it through the gates before they finally like overtook the last keep at the end of the world. That's what they were calling it.
Well, Boy Blue was actually the last. She was supposed to be the last, but then But then she runs to go save him.
Yeah, so that whole story and the relationship and how it kind of ties into him being always playing the blues and how always kind of being sad, right? Because he was the last survivor. He was the last one to get out when that wasn't supposed to be the case. He was supposed to stay behind and fall with his fellow soldiers. He was definitely and you see it throughout this throughout the entire thing. He's definitely about military duty and about protecting his own, and that's the side of Boy Blue that I really didn't get to see throughout the other volumes because he was always kind of like a marginal character in a sense. He's obviously freaking Snow White's assistant, and I when I first encountered, he kind of felt like he was a pushover. He was kind of like a Mr. Smithers, if I can put it in a way. You know what I mean? He was just the assistant, and he didn't nobody cared about him, and But this whole entire story arc shed a whole new light on him for me, and I hope they push forward with this and make him more prominent in the volumes to come.
Just get ready, bro.
I already know. But man, it was so good. And then let's see, what other characters did I like about this? Snow White, military tactician extraordinaire. Oh man, it was good, dude. That was Big B Wolf always Big B Wolf is honestly the most solid character in this whole freaking thing. So I have no complaints about his character or his suspicions or just the explanation of his powers and how he does what he does. And I thought that it was a great twist for the female antagonist centerpiece being Red Riding Hood and having Big B Wolf as the sheriff and their whole interaction. Of course, obviously, it gets later revealed, whatever. But I really thought that was fucking fantastic. The fact that Big B Wolf is the wolf of all tales makes it so that he's the villain. So when with him interacting with all these fables now as the newly reformed sheriff, it adds this crazy element to it. You know what I mean? Everyone has ill will towards him, but at the same time, there's stuff in his current character that's nah, this guy's a solid guy now. You know what I mean? Whatever he did, and he's changed. But I don't know. Okay, who is that guy with the no eyes?
The guy with the no eyes.
Remember, he goes to some bar in Brooklyn, and he tries to get this guy to look at him to look at Red Riding Hood because he can see their past or something.
Oh yeah, I have no idea who that is. Yeah, I still don't know. I remember reading it the first time and not knowing. Gouges is K is all he calls him.
Yeah, is all he calls him.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look into that and find out in the future.
But anyway, at the end of their short conversation, he's if people would have known what you actually did, the totality of what you did during the war against the adversary, everyone would be fucking afraid of you. So that brings up is this fool Big B was literally and figuratively a beast when this was all going down. So I can't wait to get to that part. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome, dude. And you were talking about real quick. I want to share too is you talk about Boy Blue in that first 3-issue story arc, right? Of him in the final battle before they close off the entryway from their
world. This
volume
was massive, by the way. I'm not tired.
Yes, it was. It was 11 parts, 11 issues, I think. But you see the final battle before they make their last escape and close off the portal between their world and our world. Watching getting to meet some of the characters that I wondered oh, where's Robin Hood? Oh, here he is. You know what I mean? And some of the other not as well-known characters, you'd probably have to do a little research to learn some of them. But even the cow that jumped over the moon. Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking hilarious. That shit was so fucking funny, dude.
Did you see it in the later panels? You see in the later panels, they show the cow. They say the cow that jumped over the moon. He's taking a nap, and then right next to it, it's the dish and the spoon.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it, dude.
And yeah, that was I love those little flashbacks that they do. I think that they really help flesh out the story, but give you a break in between big arcs. The way that it opens up with March of the Wooden Soldiers, with Snow White sleeping, and who do we get to see? We see Colin with his fucking head on a stick, and he's like the specter of the future. He's kind of warning her.
The homie.
Right. He's warning her of something that's going to happen in her dreams, and I like that. And then we see as he's telling her that, we see a car with all these fucking Fable characters just killed, murdered. And that sets us up on what's gonna take place. And we see fucking, so we see Snow White's pregnant. The doctor she goes to, Dr. Swinehart, is telling her we have other methods if you don't want to be pregnant. But Snow White's not gonna do that. She, you know what I mean? She's not going to get rid of these.
She's not about that shit.
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah.
And, we see a lot of the interaction with Big B and stuff in her, and they're still kind of on the outs. And then, Boy Blue thinks Red Riding Hood's dead, but then she makes her comeback, right? And like we said, we learned that ends up being somebody else. But what I really like, when she sees Pinocchio, right? And she has that weird reaction to him, and it kind of foretells something.
Yeah.
And you don't quite know why she has that reaction, and it's not even really. It's kind of talked about, but like it will continue to play out. And I think that, like, and that leads to like the wooden soldiers. Like Geppetto is building these soldiers for the adversary, and Pinocchio didn't even know whether his dad was alive or not, and basically tries to sacrifice himself because he wants to see his dad again. He's being held captive. He's being forced into creating these soldiers. I mean, dude, like, there is just so much fucking going on. And I don't, like, the way Bill Willingham is going through so many different things. We see, like, at the same time, we have Prince Charming trying to be the new mayor because he still wants to control the wealth of Fabletown. And King Cole is, like, pissed off that that's going down. And then we see Jack, and he's fucking, like, got his own things that he's working out. And that's when the wooden soul, like, he's trying to sell... He's trying to sell his magic beads, dude. Like, it just is such a perfect, like, encapsulation of what Jack is in these books, dude. Like, he's just ever the con man and always trying to, like, come up on somebody. And I don't know exactly who he's talking to. Thrushbeard? I don't know Thrushbeard.
Thrushbeard, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. I mean, like, again, like, this book will have you looking up characters that you didn't know about, because these aren't made up characters. They are, every single one that I've researched is a fable, is in some sort of fable or some sort of myth that has taken place over the centuries, right? And I do like how, once we find out that, like, once, like, Red Riding Hood sort of forgives Boy Blue, because when she first sees him, she's like, oh man, you left me there, and they had their way, the adversary soldiers had their way with me, basically insinuating that she was raped and tortured, right? Yeah. She ends up forgiving him in that scene where she sees Pinocchio, and he goes off with her, but after sleeping with her, he realizes that, like, wait, this isn't Red Riding Hood, this isn't her, And that's what sets up this massive war. And all the while, Bigby's not there. So, like you said, Snow White becomes this fucking general.
Fucking just over here giving her Braveheart speech, dude.
Dude, and Snow White, like you say, like, Bigby's one of your favorite characters of the story, and, like, he kind of does no wrong. Snow White, this is not the Snow White that we grew up reading about or watching in movies. Yeah. Like, she is a fucking badass. The way she fucking gathers her troops, Prince Charming is leading one group, and we have all the characters from the farm are coming up, and Rose Red is coming back to fight this fucking battle. And Snow White tells all the witches that they need to guard Fabletown and basically protect it with enchantments to keep the Mundies, the normal people, from finding out what's going on. And they're like, well, that's going to cost you. And she's like, actually, no, it's not. You're going to do it for free because we're in a time of war. And I was like, dang.
And read your contracts.
Yeah, and I was like, dang, dude, she fucking just, like, shut them down so quick, dude. And then as this is all playing out.
But they followed orders, though. They
did, dude. And I think one of my favorite scenes of the entire trade, though, was when Bigby comes back and Snow White sees him and she just jumps into him. And he's, like, kind of taken aback. He's like, he's not sure, like, because, like, when they left, like, they weren't exactly on good terms, and this is where we begin to see the relationship really take a step forward. And
I think we take the role of Rose Red at that point by seeing it for the first time, and then we're like, oh, would you look at that? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? She witnesses it go down, and she's like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Who would have thought that my sister, you know what I mean? Like, who would have thought that Snow White would love the big bad wolf?
It's a trip, and their relationship is at the heart of this entire series. It goes back from issue 1 until the last issue, dude. Like, they are the heart of this book. I just fucking loved it. And when we see Frau, the witch,
Frau Totenkinder,
go against who we learn is Baba Yaga, not Red Riding Hood, and we see them.
Baba Yaga, bro.
Yeah, dude, and we see them go at it, and she's like. And they basically say, like, oh, we've always been, who's more powerful? And that, dude, I can't even describe the battle in words. The way that all ended was just absolutely fucking epic.
Yeah. What I liked about it is just like how badass the old witch who came at it. Like, I've always been stronger than you. Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we never, but it ties into the whole belief thing. Strength is in belief. And let's be real here. Like, prior to Hellboy, I had no idea who Baba Yaga was. Prior to,
Same.
you know what I mean? Like, and let's think about it. Like how many people in the world have read Hellboy? A lot, I'm sure, but not as much as you'd think. Not enough to keep the thing. But everybody knows about the old witch in the freaking gingerbread house.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel is a timeless tale. I mean, obviously, it's been changed over the years to be a little bit more kid friendly. But even as a kid friendly story, it's not kid friendly at all. She even goes so far as to say, "Yeah, I got pushed into the oven and turned to ashes, but I came back." You know what I mean?
That's I was like, damn, dude, that's a cold bitch, dude. And she is just like throughout the series, like she only becomes more focus comes on her. And like we kind of talked about, I think we were discussing it. Well, I've discussed it with you, and then when we were talking with Nick, how some of the other characters start getting more of a shine, and why he's gonna come and join us when we read 6 because he loves Boy Blue, and that one's very Boy Blue centric.
I'm all for more Boy Blue, especially after this volume. It's been a lot of fun. Like I just legitimately feel like each volume is getting better and better and better and better. Like it's awesome, dude. I'm so glad we're doing it.
Yeah, same here, dude.
I even explained it a little bit to my wife, and she was like, that actually sounds pretty cool. Like I was explaining how like they modernized the characters, and you know what I mean, and just the relationships between everybody and how they intertwine. Basically, like the jack of all tales is jack of all tales, is like jack of all the tales, obviously, and Big B Wolf is the wolf and all the folklore stories. You know what I mean? Like that shit is just fucking just the appeal of that, and that alone adds to their origin story because everybody knows those stories, everybody knows those parts, and it all the more solidifies the character we read now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking cool, especially if especially like Robin of Locksley. Like he was a badass. Like in the few pages that he was in, he was a badass. I mean, he had to wear a dress, but he was a badass.
And that shit was so funny, dude. And I feel like something we don't really talk about enough when we've been talking about Fables, at least from the first trade, is the art, dude. I think that we have the opening arc by P. Craig Russell and Craig Hamilton, dude, is phenomenal. It is so fucking good, dude. And it has that real Vertigo feel, and especially because like P. Craig Russell has drawn Sandman issues before, But Mark Buckingham, who is basically the series artist, except for that first arc. The thing I love most about his art is how expressive it is, with with his faces, and how like for instance, like Big B Wolf. You know what I mean? Like he kind of has like the way his facial structure is, even has kind of like an animalistic look to it, and he's like feral. Right, and he has that kind of like Wolverine, and we've talked about that. and also, though, if you just flip through, first of all, it has that Vertigo feel when you look at the art. Like I was saying, even the pages as I flip through I'm flipping through my trade right now, has that old Vertigo smell. The art is like, I'm weird, bro. I'm weird. We've talked about this.
Don't trip.
But what I like too is that if you look at it at a glance, it has that story or fairy tale kind of look to it. But
the structure of panels, right?
But then it can get so fucking gory to where you're like, what the fuck did I just witness in a book about fables and fairy tale characters? You know what I mean? Like it gets like, you saw fucking Pinocchio's head get chopped off.
No, dude, what they did to the gun store owner, the wooden soldiers, dude.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And the note, you guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah, what do they call them? The
meatheads.
Dear meatheads, we realize this is a vulgar and uncouth land, but from now on, let's try to have better manners towards your superiors. Hugh, Drew, and Lou.
Yeah, dude. The wooden soldiers are like, it didn't click until like a little later when the whole like, basically it didn't click until their fight with Jack as to who they were and what they were. soon after that fight with Jack, I was like, wait a minute, wooden soldiers, March of the Wooden Soldiers. Ah, I see what you did there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I love how they made them all look like Agent Smith from The Matrix.
And they got that that lip, and you notice that Pinocchio has that same thing going on with his lip, even though he's been transformed into a boy.
And that's another thing too. Like they obviously knew Pinocchio survived, right? So Geppetto, him being enslaved and doing what he does, he still holds Pinocchio in his heart, in a special place in his heart somewhere, because the wooden soldiers themselves even revered Pinocchio. You know what I mean? There was no disdain for him, or especially after being turned into a meathead, into a human. And they early on with the wooden soldiers off top, you could tell that they were not down for people, period. And especially when they were about to kill that hot dog vendor. That poor guy was just trying to make a living, bro.
I know. I mean, it's crazy because they're indestructible because they die. They don't really die. And as you see in the battle, even as their arms are being blown up, they're fucking they're taking spare parts from the ground and attaching it to themselves, and they keep going. And then that scene where they set them on fire with Clara the Raven, who was formerly a dragon. They're burning, and all they're doing is they're staying aflame, and they're burning everything around, which is where Bigby makes that entrance, and he huffs and he puffs. And he fucking blows them away, dude.
It's funny because I'm sure you've had this conversation before with people. It's during a zombie apocalypse, what weapons would you want? And I remember specifically having a conversation, and someone said, "Oh, I want a flamethrower." I'm like, "No, you don't want a flamethrower." He's like, "Why not? Just burn up all the zombies." It's like, bro, you're just gonna have a bunch of on fire running zombies. It's like you don't want that. Come on, bro. And then this happens, and it's you set all the wooden soldiers on fire. Yeah, wood, fire. I get the connection, but they're still gonna be running around, walking on fire. I love it. Everything is very clever. You can tell that each aspect of the story is really well thought out and really well put together, and it's a lot of fun. I'm having way more fun with this than I expected. Way more fun. I was actually talking to Timmy over at the shop, and he brought up a lot of the same things, how they modernized it and how they really wrapped everybody into these singular characters, as opposed to having multiple wolves or having multiple Jacks and having. I thought that, like I said, I said it earlier on, but it really adds to the character. You know what I mean? And
it's very
makes
clever.
These characters make these characters more lovable. But yeah, dude, this is easily my favorite of the story so far.
And we're only 4 trades in.
Yeah,
and that's what's funny is that the same thing for me. It's hard to stop. You know what I mean? Because it really starts to continue to pick up pace every volume. For me, it never really falters. I guess some people can say that it does for them, or that they feel like it went on too long, but I don't feel that way. I feel like it gets better with every volume. It's one of the best endings of a series that I've ever seen, and I just love what they did, and the fact that and again, Shelley Bond and her editing, it shows, dude. It shows when you have a good editor on a book, because you're juggling all these talents, and the product that comes out of that has been. I mean, every like I said, it's nothing short of amazing. What we get with this book, the characterization, the art is always great. The cover,
the storytelling,
the storytelling. I mean,
the way they approach the multiple storytelling throughout each issue is fantastic. I don't feel like there's oversaturation of one story, and I don't feel like there's not enough of another.
I know there's such quick reads, dude, and he's juggling such an insanely large cast. To fucking have these different little threads going all throughout the entire, not just in this trade alone, the different threads that we're seeing, the different little side things that are happening while the main thing is the war, but there's also these other little things happening. Just the way to juggle that and to execute it, I mean, fuck, dude. That's why I told you, this is in my eyes, one of the greatest series of all time. That's why it's one of Vertigo's best series, and it's considered if there's a Vertigo list, it's an essential Vertigo title, because of not just the fact that it went on for so long, but the quality was there from day one till the last day.
If no one's caught on by now, like they should really start reading it. It's fucking amazing.
I agree, and they are. I know that some of the trades, like at least the way I'm reading it in the individual trades. I think you are
same.
as well. They are releasing compendiums. I don't not sure exactly when that's coming out. I do know that it's happening, much like they're doing with Ex Machina for Brian K. Vaughan's book that used to be Vertigo. Yeah. I think they might do it with Why the Last Man. I'm sure that'll happen as well. I like my Vertigo trades. I don't want to buy a DC Black Label Fables book because it's not what it is. It's a Vertigo title. But I highly recommend, if you haven't picked it up, if you're having a hard time, definitely go check that out. Make sure you pre-order that from your local comic shop. You will not regret it. I know that going forward, Dylan, you and I had discussed that we're going to start to combine the Fables trades. We're going to do 2 in 1. And probably just release 1 episode a month instead of 2 episodes a month doing a single trade each. That will start, though. Yeah. That's going to start after Volume 6. So we'll read Volume 5. It will be its own episode. And then 6, we got Nick guesting on again. And after that, we're gonna do 2 at a time, kind of the same way they released the deluxe editions. Just so that, we kind of have a more of a diverse content for all you guys listening. Instead of, 2 episodes a month are dedicated to 1 book,
Yeah, so I guess that wraps it up for Fables then for this week. Next week, we are talking about, we're talking about a very sentimental,
yes.
thing for both Ryan and I.
Yes.
It's Deadpool Classic Volume 9. And this is actually one of the first comics he and I connected on back in high school. I specifically chose this because next week on recording is actually my birthday. And I figure, why the fuck not, right? And this is Agent X, Gail Simone and Alvin Lee. And this is like one of my favorite freaking stories of all time. I honestly, Ryan, I actually haven't read it since you and I.
No.
Yeah, dude, I haven't. So this.
Oh shit! I've reread it quite a few times since then. But yeah, I like just a quick recap. Like we're calling it's Deadpool Classic Volume 9. So the beginning of it is the beginning of Gail Simone's Deadpool run. Yeah. And then it has the first 6 issues of the Agent X series, which is when Marvel changed the name of Deadpool to Agent X, Cable to Soldier X, and X-Force to X-Statix. So I think it's safe to say we'll read the Deadpool issues as well, and we'll kind of touch on that also, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think when you and I first started talking about this is right when Agent X issue 1 came out, and I had no idea what was going on with Deadpool prior to. And then I think we spent our entire first period. You were trying to explain to me what was going on and how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
man, it feels like a fucking lifetime ago. But yeah, I mean, like Dylan said, this book is almost like a kind of a symbol of the beginning of our friendship. So it's really cool to be able to look back all those years ago in high school and to now as adults talking on a fucking podcast about comic books. Like it's a trip. I'm definitely really super excited to be able to revisit this with you and kind of like look back at that time period and what was going on at Marvel and
it's going to be a lot of laughs. I already know. It's going to be a lot of laughs.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, Gail Simone is one of the best Deadpool writers, dude. Her fucking sense of humor in that book was so spot on, dude.
Gail Simone's sense of humor, period.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I'm definitely
freaking fantastic. What about next week? What do you got pulled for next week?
Well, I'm actually going to read Deadpool Classic 9 and 10 so that I can read the whole Agent X.
I'm going to do the same.
Yeah, I'm just like, normally I don't go ahead and read the next volume of something after we've read, but like, come on, I have to finish Agent X up. That makes no sense to not. It's only 1 trade, so let me check what I'm reading.
Okay, well, while you're looking, I have my pull list already pulled up.
Oh, go.
A lot of my story arcs are finishing off this week, so I'm taking them off my pull. Resistance number 6 comes out, so that's the end of it. America and Dolfo's Mercy number 6 comes out, that's the end of it. I think I'm 2 issues behind, so I don't even know what's going on. It's been pretty cool. It's like it hasn't been bad, but it hasn't been great. But it's pretty good. You know what I mean? The art is absolutely beautiful, so I'm sticking to it to the end. Avengers 36 with that beautiful Alex Ross Ghost Rider timeless variant.
Sick.
Yeah. This is it. I think this is the finale for the Age of Khonshu, or is it 37? I'm not entirely too sure.
Oh.
But yeah, finishing that off.
Okay.
Multiverses End, another Dark Knight's Dark Death Metal tie-in.
That's another one for me too.
Yeah. Shang-Chi coming out. Freaking
Oh
awesome
yeah,
Shang-Chi.
baby. Oh,
that's going to be dope. Super, super hyped for that.
Yes.
X-Ray Robot #2. This is I haven't seen this since before the pandemic broke. So I might have to revisit reading issue 1 to read #2 because it's been like freaking almost freaking 10 months, dude.
I can't even remember what happened in that issue.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm probably gonna have to reread that. And 3 Jokers, might as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot that comes out. Fuck, we got our delivery from DC was an entire pallet.
Damn.
Oh yeah, dude, they pre-sold like I think over 100 of the premium variant sets.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's a shit ton of that. I mean, it's insane.
I want to get that Batgirl cover.
Yeah, that Batgirl cover looks dope for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for me this week, my list is kind of similar to yours. I started adding all these metal one-shots because they've actually been pretty fucking good.
They've been really good.
And as much
good.
as I've been shitting on DC and their choices, like like I said, I love the characters, so like it's hard for me to make that clean break. Until everything is just completely shitty, I'll probably still read like a couple DC titles here and there, but like the metal one-shots, dude, they've been killing it. And we're gonna read it, and then Williamson kind of told me that a couple of them that are coming out in December are essential. You need to read them to know, like, for DC stuff going forward. So I'm gonna get those like in the future.
Okay. But like I said, with like as far as this whole death metal thing, I think that the tie-ins are fleshing it out so much more that I feel more invested in the main story arc. So I think going forward, I'm not gonna have the same ridiculousness thoughts about it prior to this. Like, so now I think it's more cohesive because of the tie-ins, you know?
Yeah, I agree. And then I've also got that don't judge me, but I got that Joker Warzone tie-in. Because this is it's leading into that John Ridley Batman book.
Oh, really?
And so the only reason that I'm getting it is because of that, because I really want to read a John Ridley Batman book. Like, that sounds dope. I'm getting that because of that tie-in, not because I give a shit about Joker War. And then there's the Immortal Hulk Threshing Place one shot that's coming out. It's Jeff Lemire's writing it, Mike Del Mundo on art. So I mean, come on, dude, I got to pick that up. And then
Mike Del Mundo is a fucking animal.
Oh, I know. And then, like you said, Shang-Chi. So I think our episode next week might run a little long because we're definitely going to want to talk about Shang-Chi as well. And Strange Academy, we got a new issue of that. We got the Spawn 310, Ninja Spawn on the cover. I don't give a shit.
310, yeah.
I need that Ninja Spawn cover because that shit looks dope as fuck. I'm really only getting it for the fucking cover because that cover is so fucking sick.
Yeah, bro. But, I mean, how could you go wrong with Ninja Spawn? Gunslinger Spawn cover was pretty dope too. I think it was 307.
No, it was last issue. It's
309.
Yeah, with the second printing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yeah, I mean, there's some other cool stuff coming out. I'm sure that there's stuff I'm not getting that I'll probably read. I'll probably read the next Ten of Swords tie-in. There's Department of Truth by James Tynion.
I actually read it from the advances this week.
I didn't read it yet.
It's interesting.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Do you think I should give it a read?
You should definitely give it a read.
Okay.
I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't know. I mean, like, I like it enough to continue to second, maybe third, depending on how the second goes. But it's definitely something. It's
okay. Maybe I'll just read it today. I'll probably just read it today instead of waiting for the actual copy tomorrow.
That's essentially what I did. Also, with our advances, a Steve Orlando book came out.
Commander in Crisis.
Yeah, Commanders in Crisis. That came out. I'm actually planning to read that, but it looks interesting enough. There's also a Remender book that's in the advances.
Oh, the Scumbag. I love that.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm planning to read that today. So we'll definitely talk about that. Philadelphia #8 comes out next week too, and so does Sea of Stars #7. They're not on my poll, but I'm gonna read them. Really looking forward to that. Yeah, dude, it's a solid week next week. Super solid. There's it's huge. It's a pretty big week. It's a pretty big week. I mean, 3 Jokers alone makes it big for comic shops. So, you and I are going to have our work cut out for us on Tuesday and Wednesday. So there's that.
Oh, I know. Fuck. I'm not looking forward to doing polls. It's a pain in the ass. But that's all I got for this week. I mean, not much really else to talk about from my end. Anything from you?
No, I mean, nothing from me aside from, all the DC Universe stuff going to HBO. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Doom Patrol got approved for a 3rd season. There's a recent interview with the guy who plays Robin in the Titans TV show, saying he's really happy with the way the Red Hood costume came out. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but Harley Quinn got approved for a 3rd season. The cartoon, dude, right. It's hilarious. It's my favorite show on there right now. The Harley Quinn show is fantastic. King Shark and Kite Man are in it.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, they casted they casted a She-Hulk, which is awesome.
Oh, right.
There's been a lot of mixed feelings about it, but the people, for the most part, the people who I've seen with negative thoughts about Tatiana, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, being casted for She-Hulk are people who've never seen her act. I've seen her in Orphan Black, and I've seen her in Perry Mason. So I think she's a great actress. I think it's a great choice. And filming hasn't started yet, so she has plenty of time to bulk up, and plus CGI. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Same here, dude. I'm really looking forward to WandaVision coming out this year.
Dude.
I mean, we got Mandalorian. Yes, Mandalorian season 2. Come on, dude. So we have some stuff to look forward to. Stuff.
They announced Nick Fury.
Oh, I know. That's fucking dope too.
Nick Fury, it's just gonna be Samuel L. Jackson with his own TV show. What more could you ask for?
You can't, motherfucker. You can't,
motherfucker.
So, yeah.
I wonder if his wallet says "one-eyed motherfucker" on it.
I would hope so. I mean, if not, it's a missed opportunity in my eyes. But yeah. So, I mean, if that's all we got, I think it's a good spot to end. If you're not already following us, shame on you. But head over to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge if you haven't already done so, and hit that follow button. Throw your comments or suggestions down below. Or if you want, you can email us your comments or suggestions at thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon on YouTube so you're notified every time a new episode goes up. We have the audio podcast on there. We also have it on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you're listening to podcasts, we're on there. And make sure you hit the subscribe button there as well. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.